The Challenger was created in January of 2012 by Hermes Pachito and I, and the idea spurred basically from the fact that all drama shows and pretty much almost every single drama on TV are the same. So we wanted to do something different. So that's how the Challenger was formed. It was originally titled City of Angels. It was titled City of Angels because it was going to be based in Los Angeles and it was going to be based around two detectives that go against the law. That idea changed now in this year, 2013, into an idea where it's two cops that become vigilantes.
What I really thought was lost on TV was the fact that there was no real icons, no alpha males, no real types of heroes or American heroes that there used to be. I mean, there used to be the Steve McQueens, the Clint Eastwoods, that are still prevalent today. I mean, you can just go on any website and you see pictures of Steve McQueen and all that. So, I mean, it really came of that. I didn't think that there was any real heroes out there anymore, real icons, and so I decided to try to create the next icon, create the next hero, and so that's when the Challenger came around. Rick Sledge was created, and with that, the Challenger was created, and that wasn't the first title, but that was an alternative title, and it became the final title, and it is, I think it works better, and yeah. Before I went to bed one day, me and Andrew were talking, and haha, whatever, yeah, well, we'll do a film. That's not going to be good, Andrew. You know, we were just talking, and I figured, okay, that's the end of it. It's not going to go through. Next thing I know, I wake up the next morning, and there's posters of this Challenger film. Apparently we're doing a film, and apparently I'm playing Rick Sledge. I never acted before in my life, and so, okay, I guess we're doing it. I got thrown into the damn thing, and I found a passion in acting. I really, really enjoyed it, and that's basically history now.
In December 2012, we decided to make a film. It occurred to me that that no one was going to really care what kind of scripts that we were doing. Like, we always had these posts on Twitter and Facebook where we're saying, today we wrote a new script. And it occurred to me that nobody really cared about that because they couldn't see what we're doing, they couldn't see what ideas we had. So I told Hermes, why don't we do a film? In the late weeks of December, we did that, and that's what formed the Challenger short film. The Challenger short film was supposed to be serious. It then ended up becoming a little bit comedic, not as dramatic as we would have liked it to be, and a little bit shorter than we would have wanted it to be. Our goal for that film was not really achieved. That film was supposed to show off our idea and what we had, and basically it did not get anywhere close. That was the one disappointment of that film, and to this date it is no doubt the worst Challenger film that we've done out of all 5.
The Challenger was our worst film. It was our first film, but it was definitely a stepping stone, learning how to edit, learning how to make things work, and how to coordinate people, and it was the biggest achievement we've ever done. Kind of, it took a week to film, and we did rely on a lot of people, but it was horrible. It didn't turn out the way it was supposed to turn out. Wasn't anything like the pilot. It wasn't anything like the show. It was a spoof of the show. We figured if there's no action, we gotta keep people by maybe making jokes all the time. So if there wasn't any action, we were making jokes. We had a few jokes here and there. Next thing you know, there's a joke in every scene. It becomes a comedy. And so that was it. We were done. There was nothing else you can do. It did not turn out the way I hoped it would turn out. And I was sort of let down and kind of dismayed. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be good, and I told them it's not going to be good, and I was right. I was not happy with the way it turned out. It got us a lot of views at the beginning, and you know, it did launch us, so people seemed to enjoy the comedy of it, but I was really determined to get it right. So that's when the Challenger 2 came in.
Oh yeah, the Duran Duran controversy. That was a kind of a funny situation. there was an unreleased song that I found on the internet from a Duran Duran demo. It was just an untitled instrumental. So I told Aramis, this song here has everything we need for this short film. So why don't we use it? We credit Duran Duran as a promotional tactic. And we did that, and it brought up a lot of anger in some Duran Duran fans on their page because they believed it was not a Duran Duran song. They believed it was a song by Patrick O'Hearn and Warren Cucurullo from Duran Duran. But that whole argument there on those forums that I had is basically what got us some followership on the Challenger. Because people, whenever there's some form of controversy around a film, people are always interested. I still believe that song is Duran Duran. Some people that are in a relation that are connected to Duran Duran have confirmed to me that it is.
The Challenger 2 was an epic compared to the Challenger 1. I became a little bit of a control freak. I remember saying, okay, Andrew, let me write the script myself. I gotta fix this. We gotta like throw everything out we've done, because we had written Challengers 2 and 3, which would continue that first one, and we had to throw those both out, start from scratch, and begin again.
The idea of the Challenger 2 started in January, immediately after the Challenger film was finished, and we came up with several scripts. We even wrote scripts from Challenger 2 to 5, but none of those scripts ended up going into production because what happened was they were too comedic, just like the first Challenger, and we were completely trying to throw out all that crap and move on.
Even though it technically did continue, in my mind, I had to begin again. I had to start from scratch. I had to shut myself in a room and think about making the Challenger a Challenger film.
He didn't want any help on it. He felt that he wanted to make it more serious and that
making it right. And I was very adamant about that. And it was the right thing to do, but I knew at the time Andrew was kind of dismayed by it. But I had to do it, and I think it turned out for the better. I mean, it became our best film, and
interesting process this time. We had better cameras, better lighting. My father, Angelo, helped me a few times with filming and all that.
It was fantastic. I mean, we upped it. We got new cameras, we got new footage. It was all about upping the ante. Better audio, cinematography, actors, creating a story around Ricci and Walker, a villain that we created the story of about this hitman who's basically a alternative Sledge up against this one hero, and we really tried to show the fact that Rick Sledge was not only just a cop, but he was also a vigilante. He was living two sides, and so that was important. That was seriously important to do, and we accomplished that. We added a Lamborghini, we had more of the Charger, we made Gunnarsson a tougher character. It was
a really good experience and a good stepping stone for future Challenger films.
Dino Mazza as Ricci, Chica Maffiana as Walker, Andrew's friends. But it was just something that really came together. The music was rehashed, the soundtrack rehashed, everything was done. Editing would be retaken again from the top. And it was just this, everything just seemed to kind of work. And it worked for the better. It was just so surprising. Mike Cavello as Captain Mora. Originally in the Challenger 1, it was just Andrew, some other guy. We added a kind of a character there for Mike Cavello. He was in the Black Diablo Lamborghini, and everything seemed to be better. That's what we wanted to do. We made it better each time. And I mean, there are little issues with it, but it was really important for us to get it right, get it done, and kind of like show that we can make a good film.
There were a few things that I felt did not make sense in the script, like how all of a sudden one scene he was in a suit, then the next scene he wasn't, so that's when I kind of slipped my input in, and we kind of explained things in those scenes.
Throw the Challenger 1 out, throw that crap out, and bring in something really good, and because there's a good story there, and I wanted people to know that there's a good story. I wanted people to know that the Challenger is Rick Sledge. Not only is he after the Challenger, he's also the Challenger, and we wanted to show that, and we did, and it worked. Challenger 3. Now that was an interesting film. I think the Challenger 3 was a little bit different in terms of the Challenger 2. The only problem was it wasn't vastly different. We came back after the Challenger 2 with a few different things we wanted to accomplish. We definitely wanted to make it darker, and it's definitely the darkest film, that's for sure.
The Challenger 3 was my idea of the typical sequel to the Challenger 2. I wanted to continue the Ricci story. And we did that by making Ricci the main villain opposed to having it being Walker. So Dino Maxa played Ricci once again, and it was just a Ricci concentrated story with barely any action, not much in it at all really. It was just your typical Challenger 2 remake in a way, where it just continued the story and it just built the universe out of people like Mr. V.
We had the motorcycle, we had the Charger coming back again. We introduced a new character, Mr. V, and the Lawman. So there was a lot of highlights there. It was definitely Ricci's story, so Ricci was the main villain. Walker, he had a side story too, the rising of the character Walker. That was a little bit interesting as well. I mean, other than that, we introduced the cellar, the workout thing, we had to get fit. So we decided to hit the gym. We realized that in order for us to really sell the Challenger, to really sell the idea of a man going out fighting crime and killing people, you know, telling them, okay, you're either caught or shot, your decision. He has to be tough, especially since he's being a Green Beret. So that was one thing I wanted to bring to the table. I wanted to make sure that for the Challenger 3, I was definitely stronger, and we definitely accomplished that. We made it more of a character story.
My friends were once again in it, just there to pretty much be thrown around like ragdolls again.
It was a psycho crime, drama, thriller type of thing.
Put a few Easter eggs in there, like we had the chains in behind Ricci's desk. And the only really key part of that story, in my opinion, is Ricci and Walker have a little bit of a crossing, where they do not get along with each other towards the end. And that sets up their conflict in the Challenger 4.
A lot of people said that it was their favorite. A lot of people enjoyed Mr. V. A lot of people enjoyed what we added. For me, at that moment, the Challenger 2 was still better. In my eyes, we never, up until the Challenger 4, which passed it by a mile, we never, ever was able to top the Challenger 2. Of course, it kind of set us back a bit because we thought, okay, well, we have this 40-minute thing, but it doesn't necessarily increase it, doesn't necessarily top it. We just kind of equaled it. And I think you always want to try to make it better each time. And aside from the few things we added, it definitely was not a huge difference.
That I liked was having Lucas Wolf in the flashbacks. Lucas Wolf was more of a setup for the Challenger 4 to bring him back. Everyone thinks he's dead, but he's not. And it continues what happened in Challenger 1, so Darius Fane made his return in that.
We had introduced the whole idea of the criminal enterprise of Provenzano and his liaison to the criminal world, which is played by Michaela Pacino, a character called Barbara.
Connerton was starting to doubt if working with the LAPD was the right thing to do. And ultimately, he threatened to quit and ended up staying by the end.
Challenger 2 was the main villain was Walker, but in the Challenger 3, the main villain was Ricci. So when you have more of a cerebral, thinking type of guy for a villain, it certainly becomes a different type of story. And not much action, but seriously more of a psychological mind game type of thing. And of course, it did bring something interesting to it.
And another thing that was really key to the story arc of Sledge, because Sledge's character is all about loss and regret, and a key part of that story was that Ricci killed his mother. That adds more loss and regret to Sledge and built his character even more for the Challenger 4.
We had a lot of flashbacks. The big thing was the flashbacks in that film. Tons and tons of flashbacks. And that, of course, was there to create the universe, and we introduced Lucas Wolf back into the fray, their whole Green Beret history, and that was important. Hugely important. The Challenger 3 was a setup. It was definitely a film to enhance the universe, to create this universe, to make it bigger. And so that's what the Challenger 3 was about. The Challenger 3 was of creating a universe. That's the way I see it.